If you're an app developer, you know the dream. You want your app to look absolutely perfect on every single screen. Sounds simple, right? Well, when it comes to Android, that dream can turn into a real nightmare. So today we're going to jump headfirst into that chaos and find a way through.
And really, this visual just says it all, doesn't it? Over here, you've got iOS development. A nice, neat little family of screen sizes. Pretty predictable. But then you look at Android. It's this massive, sprawling, wonderfully diverse, and yes, sometimes totally maddening, universe of literally thousands of different screen sizes. So let's kick things off by really digging into what we're calling Android screen chaos. We're going to see exactly why trying to make one design fit every single device is, well, pretty much guaranteed to fail.
And this quote, it just nails it. We're not just talking about some phones being a little taller or a little wider. No. The ecosystem today has devices that fold in half, devices that flip open, and phones that transform into full-blown tablets. Every single one is a totally unique canvas you have to design for.
But okay, even with all that chaos, there is some good news. There are patterns. It turns out that for 2025, the real sweet spot for most Android phones is somewhere in that 6.5 to 6.8-inch range. So what does that mean for you? It means you can plan for all that wild diversity while still focusing your efforts on what most of your users will actually have.
So, you might be thinking, why is this such a big deal? Well, here's the thing. Getting your layout wrong isn't just a minor cosmetic issue. It can literally make or break your entire app.
And this is what happens when things go wrong. We've all seen it, right? Buttons stretched out of shape, images looking all pixelated, and UI elements packed so tightly together you can't possibly tap the right one. It's more than just ugly. It's a usability nightmare. It's the kind of thing that makes users angry, and they'll probably just uninstall your app and never come back.
But get it right, and the payoff is absolutely huge. Suddenly, your app feels slick, professional, and trustworthy no matter what phone someone is using. That amazing user experience, it directly translates to people using your app more and sticking with it. At the end of the day, this isn't just some coding problem. It's a critical business decision.
Okay, so how do we actually do it? How do we achieve that perfect fit? Well, that's where the Responsive Design Toolkit comes in. Think of these as the essential weapons in your arsenal for taming the chaos.
First on the list, breakpoints. The easiest way to think about these is like simple rules for your layout. You basically tell the app, hey, if the screen is this wide, show 2 columns, but if it's narrow, just stack everything in one. It's what makes your design look deliberate and smart, instead of just broken.
Now, you can probably see the problem here. Trying to set up breakpoints for thousands of different devices would be impossible. And that's exactly why Google created Windows size classes. They're basically saying, hey, stop worrying about what exact phone this is. Just think about the kind of space you have to work with. Is it small, like a phone, medium, or big, like a tablet? It simplifies the whole process.
And it breaks down really easily. Compact? That's your typical phone. Medium, that's for things like foldable phones or smaller tablets. And expanded is for your big tablets and desktops. That's it. You design for these 3 buckets, and you've basically covered almost every Android device out there.
Okay, our last tool is maybe the most important, the Density Independent Pixel, or DP for short. Here's why you need this. If you design a button using regular pixels, it might look massive on an old, low-resolution screen and then be microscopic on a brand new 4K display. DPs are the magic fix. They make sure your button looks the same physical size, whether it's on a cheap phone or a high-end tablet.
All right, so you've done all the hard work. You've built this amazing, responsive app that looks gorgeous on everything. So now what? Now you have to convince people to actually download it. And that means mastering the Google Play Store, because that's where you make your first impression. Think about it. Your Play Store screenshots are your digital storefront. More than anything else, they are what will convince a person to tap that install button. And you only get one chance to make that first impression, so having sharp, professional-looking visuals isn't just a good idea, it's essential.
Now, Google has a few rules you've got to follow, but they're pretty straightforward. You need to upload between 2 and 8 screenshots. They have to be either JPEG or a 24-bit PNG, and just keep an eye on the size and aspect ratio requirements. Honestly, these are easy points to score, so don't miss them.
Look, if you're going to remember just one thing from this section, make it this number, 1080p. Just aim to have the shortest side of your screenshots be at least 1080 pixels. That's your golden ticket to making sure everything looks sharp and professional in the store.
So we've covered the problem, we know it's at stake, and we've looked at the tools you need to fix it all by hand. But that brings us to a really interesting question for our last section here. What if you didn't have to do any of that? What if it could all just be automated?
And the answer is, yeah, it can be. These days, modern no-code platforms are specifically designed to solve this exact problem for you automatically. They're built from the ground up to produce responsive apps that just work. They look perfect on any screen right out of the box.
And the benefits are pretty obvious, right? You get to skip all that complicated technical stuff with breakpoints and different layouts. The platform just takes care of all that screen fragmentation for you behind the scenes. It means your design is always consistent and you can focus on what really matters, building your app and getting it out to users fast.
So, all of this leaves us with a really big question to think about. As these tools get smarter and more powerful, what's going to be more important for the future of app design? Is it about mastering every line of code, or is it about mastering the tools that can do all that heavy lifting for you? Something to think about. Thanks for joining me for this explainer.